What's up, Juventini? Alberto here. Got all your Juve news. All right, Club World Cup. Juve has qualified. What does this mean for us now? How does it affect our summer? We'll take a look at all the details there. All right, Elkan, Calvo, Cherubini, all in Saudi Arabia. What for? Why? What is coming down the pipeline? And then transfer targets and rumor mill around future of our current players that we own and fitness tracker on Rabiot and Alcaraz as we get ready for Genoa this weekend. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is the AJC. Let's rock. We're going to kick things off with the back line. Two targets that's names are heating up around Juventus, both from Atletico Madrid, Hermoso and Renildo, and it is said that Juve could very much act on both of those players coming up this summer. Another player that is heating up around Juventus is Lewis Ferguson, and we've heard a lot about him, especially over the past week. Many sites saying he is the top target for Juventus, 25 to 30 million euro valuation, but now there's a little bit of a kicker there because Lewis Ferguson's name was always very close with Goodmanson, all right, and it was kind of this one or the other thing around Juventus. Goodmanson has a lower valuation than Ferguson. However, now Bologna has been openly and actively scouting Tommaso Barbieri, who is Juve's property, and it is said that he could very much be included in the deal and help bring that price tag down. So if all of a sudden his valuation gets a lot closer to Goodmanson, this would easily seem to push the scale towards Ferguson for Juventus. In my eyes, I still prefer Goodmanson over Ferguson if we were going to go that route, all right? But this would definitely tip the scale for Juventus. So Bologna has eyes on Tommaso Barbieri. That could be the kicker in the move there. Some other targets to keep eyes on in the summer, next to Hermoso and Renildo, are in the midfield for Fabian Ruiz, who is dissatisfied with his minutes at PSG. He's not happy there, and Giuntoli admires him even back to the Napoli days, all right? And then you have Ederson of Atalanta, but there's going to be several clubs vying for his signature, so a little bit of a battle there for Juventus, and that might push them out of the chase, okay? Now, in terms of players we own, Iling Jr., his future all stems on the contract extension. And over the past month, we have heard mixed reports that Juve was going to be offering him a contract extension and that they were not going to be offering a contract extension to the player. If he receives no contract extension, he will be sold this summer from Juventus, all right? In terms of Soule, his name heats up yet again in the rumor mill with more teams becoming interested in the player and his valuation creeping up to 40 million euros now, all right? So it is more and more likely Juve will sell the player. When Mirko Di Natale was live on our show, he said the distance between Juventus and Soule is there. He can't figure out why, but all signs are indicating a move. Not just a sale outright, but he could be used to bring down a high value target's price down, like Coop Manners. And over the past several days, we've been hearing a lot about Atalanta admiring several young players that Juve owns. I would find it hard to believe that Soule is not one of those players, all right? So all signs pointing to Soule being moved by Juve this summer. But this summer is going to have a lot of change coming for Juventus. Elkan, Calvo, and Cherubini all currently in Saudi Arabia. And no, it has nothing to do with the rumors around about a sale, as many sites have come out and said Elkan is not looking to sell the club. However, you take everything with a grain of salt. I still believe you might see a partial sale of Juventus, all right? But they are there in Saudi Arabia looking for a new jersey sponsor as the Jeep sponsorship ends this season, okay? In terms of our summer, well, we have qualified for the Club World Cup, which is actually the following summer in the US, all right? So summer of 2025. We qualified because Napoli did not get past Barcelona in the Champions League yesterday, all right? So we have accumulated the most points over several years that FIFA was counting up to make you qualified for the competition. So we have the second most points next to Inter. Napoli needed 2 more victories in Champions League to qualify. They did not, all right? You could see the disdain on De Laurentiis after that match. Yes, inject that to my veins. Loved every second of it. De Laurentiis, But what does qualifying for the Club World Cup mean for Juventus? All right, obviously 50 million euros just for making it in. This is massive. This is the reason why De Laurentiis may have shot himself in the foot by starting an appeal to keep Juventus out of it before your team played a winnable, very winnable second leg against Barcelona, right? But the funds are massive, 50 million euros. Now, there are reports suggesting that this could help Juventus retain all their key players this summer. It really depends on when this money hits our books, which nobody really knows yet. Do we get the money instantly as soon as the qualification is there? Because we have already qualified now. So do we get this money immediately? I'm not so sure. And I'm not so sure it still stops everything from going down. If we get the money immediately plus qualify for Champions League, that would be an influx of 130 million euros. So it really comes down to when do we see this Club World Cup money, because 130 million euros influx just for making Champions League and Club World Cup, that pretty much takes you so close to that break-even point. We would have had to wait to 25-26. We would be cooking. That would help us a lot, all right? Still would have to work diligently, because that's not accounting for the expenses you have just come up against through this season. So again, a little bit work to do, but a lot less than what would have came without qualifying for the Club World Cup, all right? Now, the other thing with the Club World Cup, it is said that this could increase the team pressure to move Massimiliano Allegri. And this one is interesting when you stop and think about this, because the immediate thing for me, looking at this club and qualifying for the Club World Cup, which is next summer, they're going to want to put on a good show, okay? So we talked about, I've talked about it on the show before, Juve and North America in general, they do not hold the majority of fans in North America, all right? The two Milan sides actually do. Juve is looking to take over that in North America. They made a major push at exposure in North America and globally, all right? But this Club World Cup offers an opportunity for them to really highlight themselves and showcase themselves. So yeah, the pressure's kind of on everyone. Management to bolster the squad enough and do so on a limited budget going into that season. And then you have the coaching and the players. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens with them to put their best foot forward in that competition, because with qualification beyond into the further rounds of that competition, there is more prize money on the line. So this goes a long way into finalizing the cleanup at Juventus. So does that force their hand into making a change? Time will tell. We will see. But this Club World Cup qualification, it is big in the Juventus world, all right? So while some don't like the way we got in because we needed Napoli to get bounced and choose not to celebrate it, you should celebrate it, because it helps Juventus in a massive, massive way, all right? And do not forget, we didn't get a chance to defend ourselves and add to our European point total out of complete nonsense that came last season that had no actual rules backing it. Never forget that, all right? Never forget that. Now, fitness watch going into the weekend's game against Genoa. We've got Rabiot is set to partially train with the group today, all right? But he's still very much a doubt for that game. Alcaraz is said to most likely be missing the game against Genoa. If that is the case, how do you line up Juventus? I'll tell you right now. Across the back for me, I go Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, or even Danilo, Bremer, and Rugani. Szczesny in goal, of course. Weston McKennie is your right wing back. Cambiaso, Locatelli, Miretti, your three midfielders. Iling Jr on the left. Chiesa, Vlahovic up top. Utilize Cambiaso in the midfield. He can create a ton. If Alcaraz could get himself fit, he would be in the midfield. Take out Miretti, use Cambiaso and Alcaraz on either side of Locatelli, all right? If Alcaraz can't go, let Miretti go again, but utilize Cambiaso in the midfield. Those are the changes I would make. Cambiaso is extremely versatile. He gave us some runs out of the midfield there I haven't seen midfielders make in a long time. He's an extremely dynamic player. I would utilize him in the midfield going against Genoa. Weston McKennie has been a beast either at right wing back or midfield. He'll get the job done outside there. But I would make the switch and get Cambiaso on the ball more and able to create much more. Agree, disagree? Hit me in the comments. Hit me in the comments with everything you think on all the news you just heard, and let's mix it up. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and share the content. Till tomorrow, fino alla fine, forza Juve, ciao tutti.